In Bioshock Infinite, players follow the tale of Booker DeWitt, a man tasked to wipe away his debt by finding a girl in the magical floating city of Columbia.
I don't think it was magic. I think it was actually science.
Science. Got it wrong.
What did I do to them?
I will stop him.
Gotta get out of here!
If it comes to it, you will not let him take me back.
Before we get into this discussion-style review, we just want to let you guys know that we're not going to tackle spoilers until the end. We'll let you know. So nothing will be spoiled. This is a regular, formal review.
And if you like cool stuff, you should do yourself a favor and you gotta keep track of them spoilers, because nobody likes to be spoiled. I got spoiled when I was a kid. Never came back from that.
I'm sorry.
I still scream. Don't spoil it for people in the comments. Just don't do it. Don't be a snake in the grass. Don't be a stick in the mud. Don't be
A plug in the tub.
There you go. Don't be a plug in the tub. Let's review this video game.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Bioshock 1 was amazing for its time. Its way of presenting a story, like the medium that it is unparalleled to any game, I think. It's not just the story that's good, it's the way that the game presents to you the world and the characters in it and the way that everything.
You just are in it. Yeah.
It's genius. Then Bioshock 2 came out, which was basically, we don't need to talk about it. It was like an expansion pack.
It wasn't terrible. It had some nice parts, but it just wasn't really needed.
It was mostly an expansion pack.
It was done by a third party, part of 2K. Now, I think Bioshock Infinite, like what we said about how Bioshock takes the storytelling mediums to new heights, I think Bioshock Infinite does the exact same thing.
I completely agree. I think for this day and age, to be 2013's Bioshock, this game completely succeeded. With Bioshock Infinite, I had probably one of the best experiences of video game ever. It's definitely, if I had to make a top 5 list of best games I've ever played, that would fit snugly in there somewhere.
That is high praise.
Yeah, it is high praise, and I think it deserves it. But I have read some of the criticisms, and I can agree that they're valid in some ways.
Yeah.
Like, some of the criticisms, I'd be like, okay, I'll give him that.
Well, let's tackle some of that.
Okay.
I do feel like the shooting it's like I said, competent. It's very good, but it's just kind of there. And
yeah, I mean, well, and just to like give credit to them, I guess they weren't focusing too much on how guns played out.
Yeah, and that's fine. I mean, also Vigors, they were awesome.
Yeah, the Vigors were cool.
There wasn't a lot of. At least not. This was more prevalent in the original Bioshock, but there wasn't really much incentive for me to switch it up. You know, I found the ones I like and I stuck to them.
Yeah, but I thought there was more incentive in this one to use your powers because there was only like 5 or 6, right?
Yeah.
In Bioshock, there was tons.
Yeah, I went and played it back on hard.
I am doing that currently right now.
When you play it on hard, you kind of almost appreciate how solid it really is because it's just so like fast-paced and like roller coaster ride. Yeah. Especially when you're flying around on the skyhooks and shooting. And I think the skyhooks probably is my favorite part of like the basic gameplay.
Skyhooks are great.
I wish it's cool.
I wish there was more of those, like the fights. Like when you get into a crazy fight, like
and you just
you're jumping on the skyhooks, you're jumping on the flying ships,
Incredible.
and then like. It's great.
You know, I did spend a really long time just strolling the streets of Columbia.
I will.
That is
throughout the first 20 minutes of the game, which should take like
so slow.
Yeah, I took it like an hour.
Yeah.
I was just walking, just looking at like the textures, just
just looking at the skyline floating in front of you.
Yeah,
Incredible.
You could just stare at the game.
One of the best parts of the graphics, besides it being really colorful and stuff like that, which you don't really see that much these days, Elizabeth's face.
Yes, I will. We'll get into Elizabeth later, but I will say that anytime you turn over and you look at her,
she's always like
her facial expression is matching the situation.
Almost
like,
reminded me of Alex Vance from Half-Life 2.
I was about to say that. Yay! All right. I'd actually say maybe Alex Vance and Elizabeth are now like the 2 best NPC characters.
I would say, especially considering how helpful they are and how they don't get in the way.
And they're not getting in the way. That's so smart. Like when Elizabeth was first introduced and it said, you don't have to protect her. She's good on her own. I'm like, you're learning, Bioshock. You're learning. We don't have to protect things. Yeah. That's like one of the worst things in video games. I hate it when you have to protect something weaker than you. It's just like, oh.
And you know, I love in battle when you, obviously making her tear rifts in the world and activate things. really helps. But I love when she throws you ammo or money.
Yeah.
Something about it, just hitting X and being like, yeah, thanks. It's really satisfying.
Yeah, during like a fight, you're shooting somebody and you're low on ammo, and then suddenly
She's like,
here's a rifle. Okay. I thought the story was significantly better to me than Bioshock 1. I love Bioshock 1. I thought the story was great, but I had such a better time.
It definitely is a little more complex.
Yes, it's definitely a lot more complex.
Character-driven.
Yeah, very character-driven. There were parts where I would say it slowed down a little bit because the story got a little confusing for the sake of being confusing.
I think it did get muddled in parts when it kind of wanted to just be more of like a... When it got into the revolutionary stages.
Yeah, when the revolution started happening, I honestly was like... This
isn't really spoilers. You've seen this in the trailers.
Yeah. Like, when the revolution was going on, I didn't really understand what was happening at first. I was like, oh, a revolution? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
it just happened.
Yeah.
I was a little cautious that Booker DeWitt was a character that talked and interacted with Bioshock 1.
Yeah.
Your character didn't speak at all. You don't even know what he looked like.
He worked, though.
He worked, but I liked Booker DeWitt. I thought Elizabeth is
great.
I think probably the best female video game character ever. I mean, it's like, let's face it, females are kind of in the video game department. Their characters
misrepresented.
Yeah, their characters are not usually the most level-headed
and while
well-dressed.
While Elizabeth isn't like the tough fighter chick. She's not the damsel in distress.
She's not a damsel in distress. She's not stupid.
Yeah.
She's a character that's actually defined, and you don't have to babysit her.
One aspect of the gameplay that I thought was a little undercooked, but when they were present, I really liked them. Were when you made a decision. Like left trigger do this, right trigger do this.
Yes, that was. I mean, it wasn't
a lot.
No, it wasn't a lot, but it was still. I don't mind it.
When you were like posed with it, it was effective because you were like, oh shit, and then like you did it.
You're only kind of scared of it because now with games today, it's usually like, oh, pick this to get the good ending and pick this to get the bad ending.
I love that. It's not.
But it wasn't that. It was pretty inconsequential.
Yeah.
But it's kind of fun. It gives it a little bit of replay value. We're not going to talk about spoilers yet, but we're gonna kind of wrap it up towards our thoughts about the ending.
I will just say that in this time, games really struggle with endings.
Yes.
Honestly, I think this is not only one of the better video game endings, but one of the better endings in like
anything.
A movie, a book, a game that I've seen in a while.
Yeah, I agree with that statement.
And that's crazy.
100%. Especially with the video game endings. Even with Bioshock 1, it kind of just ends.
Yeah.
And like that's the problem with video games. Like you beat the final boss, and then the end. It's over.
Yep.
But this one, it was very deserved. It felt very. It wasn't forced. I felt the plot came full circle, and it was very nice.
Now this review is coming full circle. Like we said in the beginning, make sure no one spoils it for you because it's worth it. So now we're going to get into spoilers.
Oh,
so
boy.
If you haven't played the game yet,
click off the video. Stop watching, please!
Yeah, because it is starting now.
Bioshock Infinity turns out not to be a prequel, but rather an alternate reality to Bioshock 1. Which is... I thought was a really, really clever twist.
Yeah.
I knew something like that was coming, but nothing like that. I knew there was I said, like I was saying before, that there was going to be a twist, but I just did not see that coming.
Well, put it this way, I didn't think that they were going to go to Rapture, and I was fine with that. I was like, okay, totally different game.
They didn't even.
That's fine. I wasn't waiting for it.
Yeah. I wasn't waiting for. I knew they had to mention something. I was like, how is the city in the sky going to become the city underwater?
Yeah. And then you hear the music, and you spin around, and you're in Rapture, and I was out loud in my house alone. I was like, no!
Yeah.
Man!
I might have not been as audible as you, but when I found out that I was in Rapture, I was like, oh, God,
I'm getting
that's
chills
great.
thinking about it.
Yeah, the whole story of time travel and the alternate realities, I thought that was really, really clever.
And how, like, there's basically, it was almost like there's a dimension where you had cornflakes for breakfast, and then there's also a dimension where you had Cocoa Puffs for breakfast.
Yeah, it's a multiverse theory in science. It's not to get a little scientific, quantum scientific pseudoscience on y'all's heads. This science, it's not just like if you decide to have cornflakes or Cocoa Puffs for cereal. It's like the whole theory is based upon like even the way that atoms are created. There's a different reality for every possible outcome that can exist does exist,
which is incredible. And I think it was just so awesome the way they
the way you look at the infinite lighthouses. That was so good.
That was great, and I love when you see yourself and Elizabeth strolling, having like the same conversation.
Yeah, that was great.
So cool.
The whole last 20 minutes were phenomenal.
Great.
It was amazing. Just like even the way like the twist was delivered, that she's your daughter.
I loved it.
Yeah, that was a good twist.
Especially when they show the baby. I was like, wow, they went there. They showed a baby.
I remember like when I was walking into the room and like you see like the cot, like the crib or whatever, and I was like, no, what's happening?
Yeah, you're like, oh,
what's happening? And then like
you see the baby in the portal and the finger gets cut off, and you're like, no.
That was great. That was awesome.
Incredible.
That was, yeah, like you were saying, I think that ending delivered more than most movies these days.
Yeah.
And like I said before, I've read its criticisms, and I'm not saying I disagree with them. Like I was saying before, if somebody came up to me and said, "Nah, it wasn't for me," I'd be like, "Okay,
yeah,
it's not for everyone," but I still think it was one of the best things ever. I loved it. Now the ending, when the ending first happened for me, it was like confusing for 5 minutes.
For a second, I was like, "Wait, what? Wait, what?" Like, but then I'm like, "Oh."
If you still didn't even get it, it turns out that Booker DeWitt
is Zachary Hal Comstock.
Comes from an alternate dimension.
Yeah,
which
did you get basically? It was if he accepted the baptism after the war, he was Comstock, and when he walks away from the baptism, it's like, forget this.
That's where the timeline split. Yeah. And then there's also a little extra scene at the end of the credits. Did you see that?
Yeah. Now, what do you think about that? Was that supposed to be ambiguous?
No, I thought it was very solid, because what happens is at the end of the game, you instead of taking the baptism, you drown at the baptism, and that just doesn't just erase Comstock; it erases every reality of Comstock. So Comstock never stole the baby.
It was kind of almost like a Looper type of thing. Just take yourself out of the equation.
Yeah. So since Comstock never came to steal the baby, nothing ever happened. So I thought it wasn't ambiguous. I thought that's a solid ending, because usually with time travel movies, I think the endings usually always are kind of a cop-out.
But at the end, when he opens the door and he goes, and they don't show the baby in the crib. He walks up to the crib and it goes black.
Yeah, but like you should know. I mean, you know.
This is my crib where I hold beers.
Yeah,
like, no,
this is just a crib I keep for no reason. But yeah, I thought that like I was saying before, usually I think time travel plots, once they get to the end, it's kind of like, you should have went farther. But with this one, I was like,
pretty damn good.
I liked it. Very solid. It's one of those games where I actually hated playing it because I didn't want it to be over. And now that it's over, it's just like, my life has no meaning. what am I gonna do now?
Your life has a meaning in another dimension.
It does. There's a
have meaning in your life.
Yes. So let's wrap it up.
I just say effective. That's
very,
Bioshock.
very, very effective. I love it. I love this game.
So, that's Bioshock Infinite. Let us know what you guys think of it in the comments. Definitely trying not to spoil things in comments, but let us know what you think of the game. Let us know what you think of the story and the gameplay and stuff like that. You think we're good?
I think we're good. I think we hit everything.
Well, that's all, folks. That's pretty much it.
We're gonna
wave to the camera.
Okay. Can I go home? Can I ever go home?
You go to the city of Columbia.
Okay.
Well, with what just happened, do you really want to take bets on what's possible?